The audience gasped, then booed. Meghan Markle froze on stage at Washington's biggest women's summit. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because what happened next left even the organizers speechless. In today's commentary, we look into the moment Meghan Markle's solo speech at the Fortune's most powerful women's summit in Washington, D.C. reportedly took a shocking turn. On October 14th, 2025, the Duchess, dressed in a radiant white ensemble with a sentimental diamond pin set to honor her late mother, took the stage to discuss her evolving creative ventures, her Netflix partnership, her lifestyle brand as ever, and her vision for content that uplifts female voices. It was supposed to be inspirational. Instead, what unfolded felt like the room turning against her in real time. Her opening line was polished, poised. When we create from purpose, not pressure, we move the world forward. But seconds later, faint murmurs rippled through the crowd. Then came an audible boo, short, clipped, unmistakable. A second followed, then awkward laughter trying to cover the tension. According to Summit Daily Recap, a small group of attendees in back row expressed frustration over celebrity privilege overshadowing real entrepreneurs. The sound carried. Cameras zoomed in just as Meghan paused mid-sentence, blinking once, tightening her smile. "It's okay," she said softly. "Every voice deserves to be heard." A graceful recovery, yet the unease remained. But you haven't heard the craziest part. What happened after her Netflix comment changed everything. As Meghan spoke about her responsibility to craft stories that reflect real women, someone reportedly shouted, "Start with yourself!" Gasps. A camera panned to stunned executives, one covering her mouth. Fortune's live stream chat exploded, viewers typing what happening, and this isn't right. Yet the backlash grew online within minutes. A poll on Pop Pulse News showed 63% of respondents believe her remarks felt performative. It was like watching an Oscars acceptance speech derail halfway through. Graceful intentions collided with a crowd that had already made up its mind. Sources later claimed that one of the hecklers was a former media producer who had previously pitched to Archwell and felt ignored. The theory spread instantly, fueling sympathy for Meghan and criticism of the summit's handling. You could sense the tension through every frame. Meghan's eyes flickered between grace and disbelief, her public persona wrestling against a very human reaction. For a brief second, even the spotlight seemed harsher, as if testing her poise. Within 2 hours, hashtag #BOOED and hashtag Meghan Summit Moment topped trending lists with over 250,000 mentions across TikTok and X. Clips were slowed down, dissected, mimified. Each frame turned into a viral judgment. And just as the applause tried to return, one unexpected gesture from an audience member flipped the mood entirely. As the tension thickened, the camera caught a woman in the second row, standing up and clapping, slow, deliberate, defiant. The sound of her hands echoed through the awkward silence like a metronome forcing the audience to choose a side. Within seconds, half the hall joined in polite applause. The other half stayed frozen. On social media, the clip became the moment of the night. One viewer captioned it, "The lone clap that tried to save the Duchess." Another wrote, "That room said more in silence than words ever could." When the noise settled, Meghan took a deep breath and smiled again, this time smaller, steadier. Sometimes we face rooms that remind us why we do the work. The line landed differently. A few in the audience nodded. Others simply looked away. But the real explosion happened online after the event. Commentators debated whether the boos were an act of protest or proof that Meghan's image problem had crossed into professional spaces. One PR analyst told Culture Index Live, "This wasn't just about a speech. It was about perception fatigue. People are tired of branding over authenticity." That statement alone triggered another wave of discourse. Supporters argued that Meghan was being targeted for daring to re-enter the spotlight on her own terms. Critics countered that the summit wasn't the right stage for self-promotion. It was Taylor Swift's 2009 VMA moment rewritten for corporate world. Except this time, no one grabbed the mic. They just grabbed their phones. A backstage witness reportedly overheard Meghan telling an aide, "They came for a headline, not a message." The quote spread like wildfire, reshared by journalists and fan accounts alike. Emotional peak. You could almost feel her heartbreak behind the composure. For someone who built an empire on poise, that flicker of vulnerability was raw and relatable. By midnight, hashtag Fortune Summit 2025 had generated 1.1 million mentions, and the live stream replay crossed 2.3 million views in 12 hours. The internet wasn't just watching, it was choosing sides. In the aftermath, organizers released a neutral statement thanking Meghan for an inspiring appearance that sparked important dialogue. But everyone knew that was corporate language for damage control. Days later, during a podcast interview, Meghan addressed the incident calmly. If being powerful means standing still when the room shakes, then I'm fine being still. That single line reframed the narrative. Suddenly, the boos sounded smaller. Fans clipped the quote, adding captions like, "Grace under fire." Critics still debated authenticity, but the image of her steady gaze on that Fortune stage became the story that lasted. Sometimes the loudest boos become the background to your breakthrough. If you thought that was wild, hit subscribe and drop a comment below. Was this crowd disrespectful? Or did Meghan finally meet a room that refused a fairy tale edit? Wait till you see what was caught in the off-camera footage. The conversation between two executives moments after the boos.